Welcome to our channel, a portal to a realm where every frame tells a story and each review leads to cinematic marvels. Prepare to be plunged in the captivating world of film, where our dedicated team of cinephiles will guide you through a range of emotions, from laughter to tears, as we find the magic that makes movies unforgettable. Today, we'll watch a review video of House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 4, The Red Dragon, the Gold. The fourth episode of House of the Dragon's second season, written by Ryan Condal and directed by Alan Taylor, intensifies the conflict between those loyal to King Aegon II and those loyal to Queen Rhaenyra, even if it means the latter losing their heads to Ser Criston Cole's blade. This week's episode highlights Aegon and Rhaenyra's remarkably similar power dynamics, despite their contrasting personalities. On Dragonstone, Rhaenyra's brief leave of absence to sneak into King's Landing and visit Alicent, Olivia Cook, for a last-ditch effort at peace last week has left her on an even shakier footing with her council, with many advisors believing her reluctance to enter the fray of war to be a sign of weakness. Meanwhile, in the Red Keep, Aegon has also been feeling relatively impotent as king in terms of his ability to make decisions people will listen to, with Alicent delivering a big wake-up call along the lines of how few council members even respect him as a leader. Episode 4 marks the point at which these opposing rulers make the firm decision to engage, one more impulsively than the other, but, as both sides meet for battle at Rook's Rest, it's unclear whether the Blacks or Greens will suffer more as a result of the decisive blows delivered. In King's Landing, Alicent has requested a brew of moon tea from Grand Maester Orwyle, Kurdi Jayawan, under the illusion that she is helping an unnamed young woman end a pregnancy. Or at least prevent one. But what goes unspoken, and therefore unaddressed between them, is that the moon tea is actually for Alicent herself. Such detail might escape the notice of the Grand Maester, but it isn't overlooked by Ser Larys Strong, Matthew Needham. Sometime later when the new Master of Whispers pays a visit to the Dowager Queen, Larys doesn't have to say anything at all for Alicent to know she's left the evidence sitting out in plain sight, especially since she's pressing a cloth-wrapped hot stone against her abdomen, likely for the cramping, and barely has enough strength to get herself into a chair for their conversation. Apparently, since her talk with Rhaenyra, Alicent has been poring over books relating to the history of Valyria. Perhaps she'd been looking for anything that might have better explained Viserys' final words, or, even less likely, some form of confirmation that she hadn't misheard him after all. Ultimately, as she says to Larys, the significance of Viserys' intentions died with him, which seems to be more about Alicent trying to convince herself of that fact than anyone else. Meanwhile, Criston Cole, accompanied by Alicent's brother Gwaine and a growing army loyal to their cause, has been cutting a swath through the Crownlands, forcing the occupants of any sieged castles to either swear fealty to Aegon or be put to the sword. A Raven's message received in the aftermath of the latest takeover strikes Gwaine as somewhat confusing, particularly because it informs Criston and the company to travel in the opposite direction from Harrenhal. Who's responsible for these new marching orders? That becomes apparent very quickly during Aegon's latest small council meeting. Aemond has taken steps to enact that secret battle strategy he's been working out with Criston, revealing that the new plan doesn't involve targeting Harrenhal, but instead the seat of House Staunton in Rook's Rest. It seems a measly prize, but as Aemond points out, it's small, weakly defended, and once taken, will result in Dragonstone being completely cut off by land. It's a wartime strategy that makes every ounce of sense, but it leaves Aegon shaken, particularly as Aemond moves to dress him down in front of the rest of the council in a complete role reversal of last week, condescending to his brother's antics, like naming a bunch of his friends as Kingsguard, before challenging him to come up with a better plan. Aegon stumbles and stammers his way through an answer in broken High Valyrian, but can't summon up anything else in reply. Later, when he finds Alicent in his quarters, rummaging around for any remnant of Viserys' library, their conversation quickly turns to Aegon venting about the lack of respect he's been shown as king. Alicent clearly seems to have expected this conversation to a degree, pointing out that simply wearing a crown won't give Aegon the necessary wisdom. What Aegon should be doing is shutting up, more or less, and learning from the smarter minds around him. In lieu of that, nothing else is needed from him at all. It's a conversation that will have intense ripple effects for the remainder of the episode, as Aegon, not content to remain on the sidelines this time around. Impetuously decides to ride into battle himself. In Harrenhal, Demon is still having ominous dreams, the first this week culminating in yet another appearance of a younger Rhaenyra sitting on the Iron Throne, addressing him in High Valyrian and accusing him of creating the thing he now wants to destroy, her, before Demon beheads her with his sword. "This is what you always wanted, is it not?" Rhaenyra's head challenges. Another dream finds Demon brandishing a sword and pursuing a man through the darkened halls of the castle, one who looks suspiciously like Aemond from behind, until he turns and reveals himself to be Demon, wearing an eye patch. When the dream becomes reality. Demon standing, sword drawn, in what looks to be an alchemist's lab of sorts, where the dark-haired woman, he's seen before, introduces herself to him as Alice Rivers. The very witchy Alice gives Demon a crash course in the lesser-known history of Harrenhal, including the fact that the very bed he sleeps in was constructed from felled weirwood trees, but she's also astute enough to point out his divide from Rhaenyra, as well as the secret pleasure he might carry over her inheritance being called in question. Drinking something Alice has prepared for him seems like the worst idea, but that's exactly what Demon does. Following that, he begins to lose time, is unexpectedly catapulted forward to his appointment with the Blackwoods, and has a hallucination of his late wife Lena in place of a strong serving girl. Meanwhile, things aren't looking good in the Riverlands. Kristen's army is now 3 times bigger than before, taking over houses and convincing all males inside to swear loyalty to Aegon. Apparently, knowledge of the Black's role in Jaehaerys' death has traveled negatively, causing more people to walk away from Rhaenyra, leaving Demon in a situation where he may be compelled to align himself with whoever remains. Back at Dragonstone, Rhaenyra's small council has been meeting in her absence to discuss possible next steps, with the Green's forces marching in earnest. The Queen's advisors are growing restless, feeling rudderless in her absence, and Rhaenys, Eve Best, does her best to temper their rising anxieties, but it's clear no one has a better voice of authority than Corlys, Steve Toussaint, when the sea snake strides into the room. More telling is that everyone else accepts his tongue lashing, ceding to Corlys in the interim, at least, until Rhaenyra finally makes it back, still wearing her septa disguise. Her admission that she met with Alicent in secret is received incredulously by Jace, Harry Collett. But Rhaenyra insists that she has learned all she needs to and understands there is only one way forward from here on out, either I win my claim, or die. Once it becomes clear that Kristen's army is heading to Rook's Rest, the question becomes which dragon to send. Rhaenyra volunteers herself and Syrax, but her survival is paramount at this stage, to give her followers someone to fight for. Jace suggests he and Vermax go, but he's still young and has less fighting experience. The only option, Rhaenys insists, is to send her in Malaise. The Red Queen is the largest dragon in the Black's arsenal and no stranger to battle. As both sides make their preparations, Rhaenyra divulges the truth of the Song of Ice and Fire prophecy to Jace, as well as Viserys' enduring intent to make her his heir. She can't involve dragons for a crown alone, her purpose must be something much larger than that. Malaise and Rhaenys descend on Rook's Rest and, for a moment, seem to have the upper hand against the Green's army, but a much more sizable opponent waits inside the forest, Vhagar. Aemond isn't immediately riding in to fight, however, especially not once he sees Aegon, on his dragon Sunfire. Hastily joining the fray, Aegon's presence is the last thing either Kristen or Aemond expected or wanted, but the hand of the king uses it to motivate his men to advance. Meanwhile, above, Malaise and Sunfire clash for the first time, and Rhaenys clearly has the advantage in the size of her dragon, with Malaise clawing brutal tears into Sunfire's chest that send blood pouring onto the battlefield. As Vhagar heaves herself out of the tree line and into the sky, however, she's a sight big enough to make every man down below fall silent and distracting enough to Rhaenys that Sunfire gets in a bite of Malaise. But with the two dragons tangled up together, it means that Aegon gets caught in the crossfire, literally, as Aemond issues a definitive Dracarys. Disbelief turns to horror on Aegon's face seconds before he and Sunfire are immolated by a breath from Vhagar, with both dragon and rider plunging helplessly to the ground. As Kristen rides toward the billowing smoke, Rhaenys briefly seizes advantage of the chaos to fly away from the battle, But the realization that this might be their only chance to take out the Green's greatest asset in Vagor leads the Queen, who never was to turn back, and bid Malaise to attack yet again, definitively strapping herself into the saddle. If Rhaenys is going down, she's going to aim to take out Vagor and Aemond with her. It's a fiery, bloody exchange, with both dragons delivering sizable injuries to each other, and once the smoke initially clears, Rhaenys and Malaise are in flight again, battered and bruised but still alive, drifting over the field for any sign of Vagor's survival. The brief respite they earn is too good to be true when the older, bigger dragon attacks from the cover of Rook's Rest, powerful jaws snapping around Malaise's neck. Rhaenys holds on helplessly as Vagor squeezes the life out of Malaise, with dragon and rider sharing one last look before they both plummet to the ground. Malaise's body bursting into flames. As for Aegon and Sunfire, they have barely survived. We just get a glimpse of the injured king, but based on Kristen's expression, Aegon will most certainly never be the same again. There have been prior losses, deadly skirmishes in the pursuit of succession, but Rook's Rest is the first of its type, a devastating clash that calls Rhaenyra's past caution about employing her most lethal assets into question. Now that all of the dragons have been set loose, it's impossible to predict how devastating this dance will become before it comes to an end. That's the end. Unlock the secrets of storytelling through our video, our YouTube channel's guide to the art of cinema. Join us as we delve into the narratives, the characters, and the sheer enchantment that movies bring to our lives. From script to screen, we've got it all covered. Join us as we analyze, critique, and appreciate the magic of movies. Subscribe to our channel for more videos.